Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive.
Mhm.
Today we have a really focused mission, a powerful one, actually.
Yeah, we're diving into something that we think offers a highly effective shortcut. It's aimed at really boosting your English speaking skills, your
Right.
fluency.
Exactly. If you feel like, your grammar is solid, your vocab is good, but speaking, it still feels a bit stiff, maybe hesitant,
Yes.
lacks that natural flow, then this deep dive is absolutely for you.
We've gone through quite a bit of research, synthesized a stack of sources, really detailing this active learning technique.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it doesn't just hit one thing.
Right.
It seems to boost pronunciation, how you process sound, even how automatically you speak all at once. The evidence suggests it can, pretty rapidly change how you relate to the language's natural sound, its melody.
Okay, let's unpack that. So, the star of today's deep dive.
Okay.
The technique is called shadowing. Now, I think many people have probably heard of listen and repeat, right? But
Yeah.
you're saying shadowing is fundamentally different.
Oh, completely different. Yeah. It's not sequential. Not listen, pause, repeat. Shadowing is, it's listening to English audio could be anything, dialogue, news, whatever, and repeating it out loud at the exact same time as the speaker.
At the same time, okay. That simultaneous quality is key then. So your voice is like a shadow of the original audio,
Precisely.
lagging just milliseconds behind, trying to perfectly mirror what they're saying. And you said the focus isn't necessarily meaning,
Yep.
especially at first.
Not initially, no. The primary focus is matching the pace, the timing, and crucially, the intonation, the ups and downs, the rhythm, the articulation.
Got it.
And we need to be clear, this isn't passive. We're talking maximum cognitive load here. It's an intense workout, mentally and orally.
Dual focus.
Exactly. You're engaging your listening brain and your speaking brain simultaneously. The sources really stress thinking about it, less like translating in your head and more like physical imitation.
Like mimicking an athlete's movements.
Well, kind of, yeah. You're trying to perfectly replicate the sonic pattern you hear. The goal is to internalize the feel of English rhythm, the way sounds are placed, the whole prosody, the music of it, turning that conscious effort into something automatic.
Okay, so it's intense. Definitely sounds like a workout. But why does that specific kind of intense, simultaneous practice work so well? Traditional methods are often slow, deliberate. Why is this synchronous thing the fast track?
That's the core call-in, isn't it? And I think the aha moments come when you realize shadowing hits several fundamental challenges in language learning all at once, on multiple levels.
Interconnected levels.
Yes. It really bridges that gap between knowing English like rules and vocab, your declarative memory, and using it smoothly, automatically, your procedural memory.
Right. Let's break down those benefits. The first one seems the most direct, mastering pronunciation.
Yeah, this is a big one. When you're actively trying to match the exact sounds, the timing, the way the speaker forms the words, you're forced really to confront how English is actually spoken in a stream of sound.
Not just isolated words from a list.
Exactly, connected speech, which, as you know, is often vastly different from how words look written down. That huge inconsistency in English between spelling, the orthography,
Oh, the spelling nightmare.
and the sounds, the phonology, it tripped everyone up.
Absolutely. You see a word like through, Through. And if you just look at it, depending on your first language, you might guess a totally wrong sound.
Completely. And then you have though, thought, tough, bow, cough. That off cluster is chaos.
It really is.
Or all the silent letters, the K in, the B in debt, the L in salmon or kernel.
Turnal's a weird one.
Right. Shadowing forces you past that visual track. Because you're focused 100% on the sound coming in, you have to interrupt that habit of sounding out based on spelling.
You stop looking and start listening.
Precisely. You rely purely on the sound, which is the only reliable guide for pronunciation in English. It directly builds that crucial connection between hearing a sound and making your mouth produce it. Sound-to-speech pathway.
Okay, that makes sense for pronunciation.
Yeah.
But the second benefit you mentioned seems almost counterintuitive. You said it improves listening comprehension. How does speaking make your listening better?
It seems paradoxical, right? But it comes down to the sheer level of focus required. Hyper-focus, really.
Okay.
To shadow successfully, to stay just that fraction of a second behind the speaker, you have to engage in this incredibly intense, almost predictive listening. You're sort of using your own speaking action to double check what you just heard.
I see. So if my brain doesn't quite catch a sound, or misinterprets the rhythm.
Your shadowing immediately falls apart. You stumble.
Right, so if the speaker says, I would gone really fast, I'd gone, and I missed that contraction.
Your mouth just stops. Or you say
Oh.
something completely different, and that breakdown forces you. Rewind, listen again. What was that sound? How did they squish those words together?
Okay, so the failure is actually the learning mechanism for listening.
In a way, yes. That need for intense auditory tracking really sharpens your listening. It trains your ear to pick up on things like reduced vowels, the schwa sound everywhere in unstressed syllables.
Diffuse sound.
Yeah, exactly. Or assimilated sounds, where sounds blend together, like did you becoming did ya. Things that textbooks list, but you don't really hear properly until you're forced to reproduce them instantly.
So it's a workout for the ears and the mouth at the same time, mapping sound to production.
Precisely.
Okay, number 3. This one feels crucial for sounding natural, internalizing natural rhythm and intonation. Textbooks can give you stress rules, but they can't really teach the music of English.
Exactly. The music, the melody, linguists call it prosody or suprasegmental features. Native speakers just don't talk like robots, right? Flat, monotone.
Definitely not.
We use constant changes in pitch, how loud we are, the timing, the song of the language, and that song carries so much meaning, emotion, even grammar.
Like the classic example, record the noun versus record the verb. Same spelling, different stress, different meaning.
Perfect example. Or how the pitch goes up for a question, usually down for a statement. If a learner just focuses on getting each individual sound right, the notes, but misses that overall melody.
It still sound unnatural. Maybe clear, but robotic.
Yeah.
Stiff.
Exactly. Shadowing forces you to feel and replicate those larger patterns. Where do native speakers put the emphasis? Where do they pause, even briefly? How does their pitch move? You start to internalize it.
So you're learning the emotional and structural contours of the language, not just the words.
Yes. And often that sense of rhythm is one of the last big hurdles to really sounding fluent.
Which leads nicely to the fourth benefit.
Yeah.
Integrating all these things leads to a big jump in overall fluency.
Yeah, ultimately, this is about automaticity. Building automaticity. Think about how traditional learning often works. You hear something, you maybe translate it in your head, think about the grammar rule, then construct your response.
Right. That internal processing takes time. Creates pauses, hesitation, the bottleneck.
That's the bottleneck. Shadowing, by forcing you to speak along with a native speaker consistently over time, it builds the muscle memory for putting English sentences and phrases together without that conscious step-by-step processing.
So it's like bypassing the slow, deliberate thinking part.
To a large extent, yes.
Yeah.
You're moving the process from your conscious, slow working memory where you're manually assembling sentences into your much faster, more efficient procedural memory, like driving a car or riding a bike. You don't think about every single micro action anymore.
It becomes automatic.
It becomes automatic. You turn knowledge about the language into the skill of using it fluently. Shadowing basically helps pave that high-speed neural highway for spoken English.
Wow, okay. When you break it down like that, the multi-level impact is really clear. Pronunciation, listening, rhythm, fluency, all getting worked at once.
It's why it's so potent, even if it feels demanding.
Right. So the theory is compelling, but theory only goes so far. For everyone listening now thinking, okay, I want to try this, we need the practical steps, the how-to. What's the framework?
Absolutely. We've distilled the sources and common practices into a clear, sequential 7-step method. This gives you a robust way to apply it effectively. And it starts, interestingly, not with speaking, but with choosing. Step 1, select the right audio material.
Okay, that makes sense. Choice is crucial, because if you pick something way too hard,
Disaster. You'll crash and burn immediately, you won't be able to keep up, you'll get frustrated, and you'll probably just quit. That's the most common trap.
so what's the rule?
Start with material that is comfortably at your current level, or maybe just a tiny bit challenging, not overwhelming. The speaker needs to be clear, reasonably well articulated, and keep it short to begin with.
And you mentioned transcripts earlier. Are they essential?
Highly recommended, especially at the beginning. Using a transcript serves as a kind of scaffolding.
Okay.
It does 2 things. First, it helps you connect the sound you think you're hearing with the actual word, which is great for tricky vocabulary or fast speech. Second, it ensures you basically understand what's being said. You're not shadowing complete nonsense.
But isn't there a risk of just reading along instead of truly listening? defeats the purpose of bypassing the visual, right?
That's the key point. It's temporary scaffolding. You use it initially to orient yourself, maybe check things you missed, but the goal is absolutely to phase out the transcript as soon as possible. Rely on your ears.
So don't use it as a crutch forever.
Exactly. For starting materials, think about podcasts designed for English learners. They often speak clearly, maybe a bit slower. Short clips from educational videos, perhaps. Things with clear narration.
Got it. Okay, audio selected. What's step 2?
Step 2 is pre-listening for general understanding. Before you even attempt to shadow, take that short chunk of audio you've chosen, maybe 60 seconds, 90 seconds max, and just listen to it normally. Once or twice.
No repeating yet.
No repeating. The only goal here is to get familiar with the content. What's the topic? What's the general flow? Are there any keywords you clearly don't know?
You're just getting the lay of the land. So when you do start shadowing, you're not trying to figure out the meaning and the sounds and the rhythm all at once.
Precisely. Remove the comprehension barrier first, as much as possible. Then you're ready for the main event. Step 3, beginning the shadowing process.
Okay, this is where the magic happens. Or the hard work.
Both. Play the audio again, but now focus on really short sections. Maybe just one sentence to start, or even just a phrase if the sentence is long.
That was small.
Very small. And now you try to repeat exactly what you hear as you hear it, at the same time as the speaker. Remember that tiny delay, like an echo?
And you said, don't aim for perfection immediately.
Absolutely not. Forget perfection. The #1 priority, especially at first, is just staying synchronized, matching the rhythm, the pace, the general ups and downs of the voice. Keep going.
Like trying to clap along exactly in time with music, even if you miss a few beats.
That's a great analogy. Stay with the tempo, keep that echo tight. And this naturally leads to step 4. Repetition is key.
Right, because one try isn't enough to internalize it.
Nowhere near enough. Language learning, especially pronunciation and fluency, is about building muscle memory, both physical and neurological. So you go back to that same short sentence or phrase, and you shadow it again and again.
How many times are we talking? Like 3 or 4?
More. Effective shadowing involves what educators call overlearning. You want it to become almost automatic, depending on how tricky the segment is, maybe 5 to 10 repetitions in a row. Seriously.
Wow, okay. That's dedication to one sentence.
It is. But each time you repeat, you're reinforcing those neural pathways. You start noticing subtle things you totally missed the first time, a slight pause, how they linked two words, the precise vowel sound. Your brain was just trying to survive the first time. Now it can refine.
Like hearing layers in music you didn't notice initially.
Exactly. It moves from conscious struggle to ingrained pattern. Once a short bit feels more comfortable, more internalized, then you move to step 5. Gradually increasing the length.
Makes sense. Build up stamina.
Yeah, it builds confidence and your capacity to process longer chunks of speech. Once you feel okay with single sentences, try shadowing 2 sentences together. That may be a whole paragraph. Eventually, you aim to shadow the entire audio clip without stopping.
Scaling up the challenge as your skill develops.
Exactly. It keeps you in that sweet spot of productive struggle. Now, step 6. This one often makes people nervous, but it's incredibly valuable. Step 6. The eye-opening step, recording yourself.
The dreaded listen to your own voice step. Why is this so important? We can hear ourselves when we speak, right?
You think you can, but your brain does a lot of filtering and correcting in real time. You often believe you sound much closer to the target than you actually do. It's a well-known perceptual bias.
Okay.
Recording yourself shadowing and then immediately listening back and comparing it directly to the original audio, that provides objective, private feedback. It's really the only way to truly hear the gap between your production and the native speakers, to spot your linguistic blind spots.
Ouch. But necessary pain, maybe. What should I be listening for specifically when I compare my recording to the original?
Good question. Focus on a few key areas. First, rhythm and stress. Are you emphasizing the right words, usually nouns, verbs, adjectives? Are you reducing the function words, like the A of is? Native speech has strong and weak forms. Mimicking this is crucial.
Okay. Stress patterns. What else?
Second, intonation contours. Does your pitch go up and down similarly, especially at the end of sentences or for questions? Third, specific sounds. Listen closely for sounds you know are difficult for speakers of your native language. Maybe the English R and L, or the sounds like B, or specific vowels like the difference between ship and sheep.
Pinpointing problem phones.
Exactly. Fourth, linking and reductions. Are you blending words together smoothly like the speaker, for e.g. want to, becoming wanna? Or are you pronouncing every single word distinctly and artificially? Recording makes these differences glaringly obvious.
That's a very specific checklist.
Yeah.
Turns it from just listening into active analysis.
It has to be analytical to be truly useful. And this whole process ties into the final, perhaps most crucial ingredient. Step 7. Patience and persistence.
A long game.
Absolutely. Shadowing isn't magic, it's a skill, and like any skill, it takes consistent practice to develop. You won't sound like a native speaker overnight or even in a few weeks.
Manage expectations.
Definitely. Celebrate the small wins. That moment you perfectly nail a difficult phrase you've been practicing, or when you notice yourself using a more natural rhythm in conversation. Consistency, regular, focused practice is far, far more important than occasional marathon sessions. Patience is key.
Okay, so to recap the 7 steps, choose the right audio with transcript initially, pre-listen for gist, shadow short bits, repeat those bits many times, gradually lengthen the sections, record yourself for honest feedback, and stick with it patiently.
That's the roadmap. It's rigorous, yes, but incredibly effective if you follow it.
Right. That framework gives everyone a clear path. Now, let's talk about making that practice even better. Optimization. How can listeners refine their shadowing sessions to get the maximum benefit?
Good point. Beyond the basic steps, there are ways to really level up the practice. We've got 4 tips here, digging a bit deeper.
Okay, let's hear them.
Tip 1. Focus on the physicality of sound. We often think of language as just mental, but it's profoundly physical. Your mouth, tongue, lips, jaw, they're doing complex gymnastics.
Like playing a musical instrument.
Exactly. English has sounds that might not exist in your first language, requiring specific movements you haven't automated. Think about the English L versus R for many speakers, or the sounds. They require precise tongue placement.
So while shadowing, I should actually be thinking about what my tongue is doing, where my lips are.
Yes. Pay attention to the sound the native speaker makes and try to figure out the physical action needed to replicate it. Are their lips rounded for an oo sound? Is the tongue touching the ridge behind the teeth for T or D? Try to consciously imitate those movements, even if you can't see them.
Reverse engineering the mechanics from the sound.
Pretty much. It helps build that crucial muscle memory for accurate articulation. It connects the feeling in your mouth to the sound produced.
That makes sense. Getting the physical feel right. Okay, tip 2, prioritize flow over vocabulary. This sounds like it tackles that hesitation issue again.
Directly. When you're in the middle of shadowing, especially trying to keep up with faster speech, the absolute priority needs to be maintaining the flow, the rhythm, the speed, the intonation contour.
Not stopping every time you hit a word you don't know.
Exactly. If you stop to puzzle over an unfamiliar word or look it up, you've broken the flow. The whole point of the simultaneous repetition building that smooth, connected speech pattern is lost.
So just try to mimic the sounds of the unknown word and keep going.
Yes, make a mental note maybe to look it up later. But in the moment, sacrifice perfect comprehension for maintaining the rhythm. The fluency gains from uninterrupted practice often outweigh knowing every single word instantly.
Keep the momentum. Yeah. Okay. Tip 3, the power of variety. Don't just shadow the same person or same type of audio forever.
Right. If you only shadow, say, one specific newsreader, you'll get really good at mimicking that person's style and pace. But real-world English isn't just one style.
It's messy. Different accents, speeds, levels of formality.
Exactly. So mix it up. Shadow podcasts, yes, but also try interviews. They're often more spontaneous with natural hesitations and overlaps. Try news reports for formal language and speed. Try clips from different regions to get used to various accents. Maybe even carefully chosen song lyrics, though that's a bit different.
So variety isn't just for fun, it's strategic. It builds flexibility.
It makes your ear and your speaking more adaptable, preparing you for the unpredictability of real conversations. And the final tip, tip 4, consistency trumps intensity.
We touched on this with patience, but it's worth emphasizing.
Absolutely. It's so tempting, especially when you're motivated to think, I'll do a massive 3-hour shadowing session this Saturday.
And then you burn out or get overwhelmed.
Right. Neurologically, our brains learn better with spaced repetition. Short, focused, consistent sessions are far more effective for building long-term skills. Think 10-15 minutes of really concentrated shadowing, maybe 3 to 5 times a week.
Little and often beats big and rare.
Every time. It keeps reinforcing those pathways without leading to fatigue or discouragement. Sustainable habit formation is key.
Okay, those are great tips for maximizing effectiveness. Now let's flip it. What about the common mistakes? the pitfalls that can trip people up, even if they have good intentions with shadowing?
Yeah, knowing what not to do is just as important. There are a few recurring issues we see. Mistake 1, shadowing material. That is too difficult.
We mentioned this in selection, but it bears repeating because it's such a common killer of motivation.
It really is. If the audio is too fast, the vocabulary too dense, or the accent too unfamiliar, you simply can't keep up. You spend the whole time struggling, feeling like a failure.
And then you associate shadowing with frustration.
Exactly. You need to start where you can achieve some success, feel that positive reinforcement, build confidence, then gradually increase the difficulty. The audio has to be mostly comprehensible.
Find that just right challenge level. What's mistake number 2?
Mistake 2 is focusing on the notes instead of the melody. This is subtle but critical, especially for learners who are very focused on accuracy.
You mean getting every single sound perfect?
Yes. They might drill down on pronouncing one tricky word perfectly, but in doing so, they lose the overall flow, the intonation, the rhythm of the sentence.
Like we discussed with prosody.
Exactly. You have to actively mimic the entire sonic landscape. The stress, the pitch changes, the pauses, the linking. That's what makes speech sound natural.
So slight inaccuracy on a word is okay if the overall rhythm and intonation are good.
For fluency, absolutely. Native listeners are much more forgiving of a minor pronunciation slip if the overall rhythm and melody are natural. They struggle much more with perfectly pronounced words delivered in a flat, robotic way. Prioritize the melody.
Got it. What's the third common mistake?
Mistake 3, passive engagement. Just kind of half listening while doing something else.
Like having it on in the background.
Yeah, or just mumbling along without really trying to match closely. Shadowing demands active, focused effort. It's a mental and physical workout, remember?
Right.
You need to be constantly comparing your output to the input, making micro adjustments. Are you matching the timing, the pitch, the articulation? If you're just letting the words wash over you, you're not engaging that crucial auditory motor feedback loop. That 10-15 minutes needs to be high concentration time.
You have to be all in for that short period.
Needs to be idea. And the final one, which ties back to patience, is mistake 4. Instant native sound expectation.
Thinking you'll sound like the Queen or a Hollywood star after a month.
Something like that. Learners hear about shadowing, get excited, try it for a bit, and then get really discouraged when they record themselves and still hear their accent.
It's unrealistic.
Completely.
Right.
Acquiring a native-like accent or even just significantly reducing a foreign accent and improving fluency takes a long time. Months, usually years, of consistent effort. The goal isn't perfection overnight.
The goal is improvement, progress.
Exactly. Celebrate the small steps. Notice when your rhythm is smoother, when a difficult sound becomes easier. Avoid that harsh self-criticism that ignores the real progress you are making. Focus on the journey, not an impossible instant destination.
Great points. Avoid material that's too hard. Focus on the melody, not just notes. Stay actively engaged and be patient with yourself.
If you can navigate those pitfalls, you're much more likely to stick with it and see real results.
Okay, we've covered the why, the how to do it better, and the what to avoid. Let's circle back quickly to that crucial first step, selecting audio. We need to make sure people match the material to their actual level.
Absolutely critical. The right challenge level is paramount. Let's break it down by proficiency.
A good idea. Let's start with beginner-level recommendations. What should absolute beginners or low-level learners look for?
For beginners, the name of the game is clarity and comprehensibility. You need material specifically designed to be easy to follow.
Like those ESL, EFL podcasts we mentioned.
Exactly. Podcasts for learners, simple dialogues from beginner textbooks, maybe very slow, clear children's stories or animations.
What makes them suitable?
Usually they feature very clear pronunciation, often slower than natural conversational speed. They use high-frequency vocabulary and simple sentence structures. The goal here isn't complex content. It's building the foundational ability to hear distinct sounds and mimic basic sentence rhythm.
Establishing the core sound-speech connection without being overwhelmed.
Precisely. Build that base first.
Okay, moving up. What about intermediate-level recommendations? Learners who have the basics down but aren't fluent yet.
Intermediate learners are ready to bridge the gap towards more authentic material. They can handle a bit more speed and complexity.
So moving away from purely learner-focused stuff.
Generally, yes. It's time to start engaging with content made for native speakers, but carefully chosen. Think about short news clips on general topics, things you might already have some background knowledge of.
Like from BBC Learning English? Or VOA Learning English, perhaps? Still slightly moderated.
Those can be excellent transition points. Also, consider well-edited interviews where the speakers are relatively clear and articulate, or maybe scenes from TV shows or movies where the dialogue is straightforward and the context helps comprehension.
What's the key challenge they're tackling here?
They're starting to deal with more natural pacing, a wider range of vocabulary, and crucially, more features of connected speech sounds blending together, words being reduced. It pushes them beyond the clean audio environment towards real-world listening and speaking. Manageable challenge is key.
Right. And finally, for the advanced level recommendations, what should learners who are already quite proficient be shadowing?
Advanced learners need to push themselves. They need a real workout, as you said earlier. Their goal is refinement, nuance, and handling complexity.
So no more kid gloves.
Mhm.
What kind of material provides that workout?
They should actively seek out challenging, authentic, often unscripted audio. Think academic lectures in their field, fast-paced political debates or panel discussions, sophisticated podcasts with multiple speakers and natural conversation flow, or complex dialogue from high-quality dramas or films.
Material with dense information, complex sentences, maybe slang or idiomatic language.
Exactly. Technical jargon, complex sentence structures, rapid back and forth, humor, sarcasm, regional accents, anything that stretches their processing speed and linguistic flexibility.
What's the specific focus for them when shadowing this tough stuff? Basic fluency is presumably okay by now.
Their focus shifts to the finer points. Mastering subtle intonation patterns conveying doubt, enthusiasm, irony purely through pitch and rhythm. Nailing difficult consonant clusters or vowel distinctions at speed. Internalizing complex idiomatic expressions and using them naturally. Replicating the flow and timing of very fast speech without stumbling.
It's about that final polish, moving from just fluent to truly natural and stylistically adept.
Precisely. It's less about can I say it and more about how do I say it to convey the precise meaning and nuance intended. It's about cultural fluency as much as linguistic fluency at this stage.
Wow. So a clear progression. Start simple and clear, move to moderated, authentic content, then dive into the complex, fast-paced, real world. The method stays the same, but the material evolves with you.
That's the core idea. Match the material to your current edge and keep pushing that edge forward consistently.
Excellent. Okay, I think that gives everyone a really solid understanding of the whole shadowing process, from theory to practice to refinement.
So if we were to wrap up this deep dive, what's the single most important thing for listeners to take away? For me, it's that shadowing is uniquely active. It forces your brain to connect listening and speaking in real time, bypassing that slow translation step.
Right. It's not passive listening.
Not at all. It takes real focus, discipline, patience. But the payoff, that smoother, more natural, more confident speaking style, the sources really suggest it's transformative for many learners.
Absolutely. And my encouragement would be, just try it. Allocate maybe just 10-15 minutes today or tomorrow. Find some audio that feels right for your level. Maybe grab the transcript for the first run. And just do it. Focus on the flow, the melody, like you said. Don't worry about perfection. Practice regularly. That consistency really is the engine here.
Well said. And maybe a final thought to leave people with, building on that idea of focusing on sound and rhythm.
Go for it.
As you get deeper into this, really concentrating on the prosody, the stress, the pitch, the timing that conveys emotion and meaning, consider this. How might mimicking those patterns, the sound of how a native speaker structures their emphasis or builds intensity, how might that actually start to change the way you think about organizing your own arguments or expressing feelings when you speak English spontaneously?
So it's not just changing how you sound, but potentially how you structure thought in English.
It's a possibility, isn't it? You're internalizing the delivery patterns that native speakers use to make points effectively. It could reshape not just the output, but the underlying organization, something to ponder as you practice.
That is a provocative thought. Food for thought, indeed. Okay, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into shadowing. A huge thank you for breaking that down for us.
My pleasure.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. Keep practicing, find that right audio, and happy shadowing.